Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do another entry in the movie Spotlight series, um, and we're going to take a look at an older slasher film from the 1980s called Slumber Party Massacre. Now, Slumber Party Massacre came out, it was in kind of the wake of a lot of the stuff like Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that stuff, and it plays a lot on the tropes that those movies established, where, you know, you have the girls, you got the nudity, you got the insane killer, you got you got all the interesting murders that happen throughout the night. You know, all the girls are in the house. Again, it's a slumber party, quote unquote. Now, the thing is the best part of the movie is, if you really want to view it this way, and I personally view it this way because I find it hilarious, is to view it as a black comedy. Because if you look at it that way, every single thing in this movie is fucking hilarious. And it's kind of hard to tell whether or not that actually makes sense. But I mean, even when you look at the cover for the film, you can see that, you know, the whole idea is basically there's this lunatic running around. He has this massive power drill that looks like it's powered by a car battery, that he has to hold with both hands. And that's his murder weapon. You know, he doesn't use the butcher knife or a machete or a glove with knives or anything like that. He has this massive fucking power drill, and he proceeds to kill a shit ton of people with it. Now, there's something you can do when you look at the cover for the film. The way that it's framed is he's standing. The shot is from between his legs. So he's standing with his legs kind of splayed out, and then you see all the girls kind of huddled in this corner, and they're all looking at him terrified. And then in the middle is just the drill hanging down, and it's really, really funny if you think of the drill as like an extension of his dick, and it makes everything more hilarious because it's just like he's just killing people with his massive drill penis. That is literally what all of like the imagery in the movie makes you think of when you're watching it. Is, you know, all of the imagery. You know, you have these shadows where it looks like, you know, again, the silhouette of him, and then you look down at like the midsection, and then there's the drill, and stuff like that. And it's so fucking funny when you start looking at it from that point of view, because all the camera angles are really meant to accentuate this murder weapon, but the way that he holds it and the way that it's framed, it makes it look like a dick. So it's just so hilarious. And then, as you go through the movie, you know, the whole idea basically is it takes the idea of horror tropes almost to a meta level, not as much as Scream did, but it takes the slasher elements and kind of just accentuates them just enough where it's still it's not a joke of itself, but it's still, you know, it's almost if you've watched like the movie This Is the End. And you've seen, you know, they're playing, all the actors in that movie are playing themselves, but they're just playing you know, over the top humorous versions of themselves. That's what you feel like when you watch this movie, is that most of the characters in it are playing over the top humorous versions of what you would kind of consider to be your standard slasher genre characters. And that's what makes it so very funny. And even some of the kills don't make a lot of sense. And I'm going to go over just one specifically that I find extremely funny. And it's a kill involving a pizza boy. So the girls, obviously it's a slumber party, they have no idea there's a murderer, even though there's a couple people I think that have been killed at that point. And the pizza guy comes to the door, and the doorbell gets rung, which we assume at this point is the killer. And so they open the door, and then the pizza guy falls into the house, and he's had both of his eyes drilled out, so he's dead. And he just like falls into the front door, and then they immediately, you know, they slam the door shut and stuff. And the questions mount in that scenario, like, okay, so he killed him, I get that, and he fell in the house because he's dead, I get that. How did he stay standing outside of the door holding the pizza box, and if the killer was outside, why the hell didn't he just enter immediately after that happened and start murdering people? There's a lot of questions involving that one, but it's so funny when you just sit down and watch it. Like, how? Why? The thing is, you don't feel like it's necessarily done because the movie is terrible. It's done almost in a comedic fashion. It's done to be intentionally like that, to say like, how the fuck did that happen? That's kind of, it's almost like they want you to think that, and it's very interesting. When especially if you've watched the film multiple times like I have, and honestly, it's a really funny movie if you look at it from the point of view that I look at it as, which is basically almost like a parody. And I can't recommend it highly enough if you watch it in that sense. If you're looking for a legitimate slasher movie, like a really good slasher movie, Slumber Party Massacre is not going to be for you. Also, do not watch any of the sequels. They're all god awful. But, if you're looking for something that's kind of meta and really, really funny, if you kind of know, if you pay attention to it a little bit, Slumber Party Massacre is a great movie to watch, because if you pay attention to that movie and you're aware of like camera angles and stuff like that, and how certain things are placed in the scenes and stuff, you will laugh your ass off at this movie because it's so funny. And again, I feel like it was intentionally done that way. I don't feel like this film was just a botched slasher movie. This feels like something that was deliberately made to be funny, because again, a lot of the camera angles really accentuate certain things that, it's not by accident that those things are accentuated in those scenes. It's not like you watch a movie with horrible acting and you watch the screen and then you see, like somebody says their lines horribly and stuff like that. That wasn't necessarily intentional. That was just really bad acting or bad scene construction or this or that. Instead, no, we see stuff like Slumber Party Massacre where, a lot of the stuff, again, appears very intentional, and I take it as a black comedy. So, that's just something from me to you. But I'd urge you, if you want to take certain things in a certain light, if you really like the slasher genre, give it a watch. It's funny. But that's my opinion on that movie. I'd like to know if you've ever seen Slumber Party Massacre. Do you like it? Do you plan maybe on watching it in the future, or have you seen it, or any of the sequels and stuff? Put your thoughts in the comments below. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?